everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the SFTG podcast. And here is the tech news in brief. Some Pixel owners have received the Android 11 beta early, revealing yet more details about this year's version of Android. In a tweet, Michelle Raman of XDA Developers said that 2 Pixel 4 XL users reported having received the update, revealing new details about Android 11 features like the power button menu, 3 new icon shapes, and auto-generated app suggestions in the home screen dock. Now, Google planned to announce the Android 11 beta on June the 3rd, but decided to delay the launch. Now is not the time to celebrate, the company said, without linking it directly to national protests about police violence that have since gone global. The company is yet to set a new date for the announcement, so it's unclear when this beta software may be more widely available. So yes, we're going to find, and I think we've got another story in this episode of developers, companies delaying announcements because of the unrest in the United States and even across other cities on the planet. It is a scary time, but going back to the story about Android 11, it's rather interesting that we now have this new operating system that seems to be ready for testing. It's one of the reasons why I switched from a Samsung device to a Google phone. So, something to look forward to, I guess. Microsoft is doubling down on a known strength by confirming that the Xbox Series X will launch with thousands of games leveraging its years-long backward compatibility efforts, in comparison to Sony's mixed messaging on PlayStation 5's backwards compatibility capabilities. That's a tough sentence. With more than 100,000 hours of playtesting already completed, thousands of games are already playable on Xbox Series X today, from the biggest blockbusters to cult classics and fan favorites. Xbox Series X Director of Program Management Jason Ronald wrote in a new blog on Xbox Wire, "Many of us in Team Xbox play on the Xbox Series X daily as our primary console, and switching between generations is seamless. By the time we launch this holiday, the team will have spent more than 200,000 hours ensuring your game library is ready for you to jump in immediately." Oh my goodness, I've never said Xbox so many times in a paragraph. Now, to be fair to Microsoft, they have led the way in terms of backwards compatibility. There's no denying that. Sony have a problem right now because the vibe they're giving off is that they do not really care whether a PS4 game is going to be playable on the PlayStation 5. And I find that slightly troubling. So those games developers are obviously going to have to develop a PS5 version of the game. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. We'll see how it all plays out when both consoles are released this holiday season. That's what the Americans call Christmas. Sony has announced that it has decided to delay the PlayStation 5 reveal event originally set for June the 4th. "We have decided to postpone the PlayStation 5 event scheduled for June the 4th. While we understand gamers worldwide are excited to see PS5 games, we do not feel that right now is a time for celebration, and for now we want to stand back and allow more important voices to be heard," the statement reads. Sony originally had announced last week a PS5 reveal event for this Thursday, June the 4th, which would have debuted games set for Sony's next-gen console. Since that announcement, in addition to the COVID-19 pandemic the world is facing, protests around the United States and the world have been ongoing, centering on police brutality following the death of George Floyd. Sony has not announced any rescheduling plans for the event or its included announcements. I find this incredibly magnanimous of a multinational corporation like Sony to do. Good on you. Sony has confirmed that despite early leaks spoiling several key plot points of the upcoming The Last of Us Part 2, pre-orders remain healthy. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan further added in an interview with CNET that pre-order demand of the sequel is outstripping that of Marvel's Spider-Man at the same point before its launch. Widely considered one of the greatest PS4 exclusives, Sony purports Marvel's Spider-Man remains the best-selling superhero game in US history. I've heard it's a great game. Massive spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 circulated last month. Video footage showing cutscenes and gameplay, including several pivotal scenes, were available to view online. Now, I'm not interested in watching those videos. I don't want to know anything about the story because and I'm sure you want to get your hands on this game. I am so looking forward to playing it. I'm sure you are too. It's gonna be awesome. The previews that I've seen, yes, are suggesting that it's a lot more brutal, but I suppose in a post-apocalyptic world, it's expected to be. So, yeah. Anyway, get your hands on this game. It's going to be great. Anyway, that was our last story. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can email us at sftgpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. You can download the episode on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, just about any old podcast catcher that's out there. My name is Hubert A. Shorter, and I'll see you next time.